Army sports car racing fans. You join me in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup Paddock as we launch this bit of a mini-series on the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup, a supporting race to the F1. Today we're going to be catching up with project manager Oliver Schwab, who's going to be giving us the absolute everything you want to know about this racing series. Episode 2, we're going to be joined by driver Harry King as he gives us the breakdown of everything we want to know about the GT3 Cup car. And finally, we're going to be catching up with JRT, a British team racing here at Silverstone. Very, very exciting times, and we're super, super proud to be sharing this opportunity with you guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Okay, so yes, we are joined by the project manager, Oliver Schwab, who's going to talk to us all about the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, what it was, what it is, all about the racing series, just more of a general information about this racing series. Oliver, thank you so much for joining us again. So as we were talking about before, the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, what is it and how did it kind of come to be?
Well, first of all, thanks a lot for the opportunity. Well, the Porsche Super Cup is part of a group of one-make series that we run at Porsche Motorsport. And what is always good to understand is that it's not factory motorsport, so it's not us as Porsche who's the competitor. In fact, we do customer racing. That means private racing teams come to us, buy the car from us, and as we do it here in the one-make series, also enter into a series that is organized by us. In fact, there is 35 one-make series running globally now of Porsche, and the special role that the Super Cup is playing is we are the only one that is directly organized by Porsche AG, meaning we are the ones that sort of when it comes to developing ideas, when it comes to developing technologies, but especially when it comes to putting together a set of organizational regulations, of technical regulations. That's what we do here in our championship, and then the rest of the world can benefit from that.
So what would you say kind of separates the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup from sort of like basically like the supporting series is here?
Well, I mean, for sure what makes the Super Cup special is we run exclusively with Formula One. So we do run with 8 European rounds of the Formula One World Championship. On top of it, the sporting reputation of the Super Cup for sure is special because if you look at the past also, and if you look at the history of the, 32 seasons now that the Super Cup has been running, if you won the Super Cup or if you were within the top 3, you as a racing driver very much were able to earn money with motor racing afterwards, and either became a works driver with Porsche or became a works driver with one of the other big manufacturers.
That's very impressive. I quite like the fact that you were saying before it's a one-make series, so like the cars are completely the same across the grid.
Well, that's the beauty of it, because unlike you have it in other racing competitions in a one-make series, it's really the driver that does make the difference. Yeah. And the cars, when you look at them, I mean the GT3 Cup, it's the 992, the first generation. It can only be modified very slightly, and what makes the car so difficult to drive, and in fact, if you ask me or if you also ask the drivers, one of the, if not the most difficult Porsche race car there is to drive at the moment, it doesn't have any ABS, it doesn't have any traction control, no electronic assistance systems, and therefore it really comes down to the driver. And I think that's also the beauty for the spectators, because they can really see that it's the driver that makes the difference. They can see quite close duels when it comes to racing, and that's what I think the special spice in it. And of course the weather here at Silverstone definitely reveals character and talent for some of the drivers. Well, probably the audience doesn't know. I mean, we're looking very horrible filters in the camera at the moment. So in fact, we're sitting here at 30 degrees, sun is shining, and it feels like Ibiza. But of course, that would have been a disappointment for the audience. Therefore, we say now that it's actually 10 degrees and raining.
So with the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup, what's the next sort of like level down? So what's the, obviously this is like top tier within the Porsche Motorsport, what's the next sort of like level down in, like, say, drivers coming through to this sort of championship?
Well, let's say a textbook development of a driver is that that you start in karting, and at some point you shift over to GT racing, and then you start at a sprint challenge or an endurance challenge somewhere nationally. Then if you build up your first experience in a GT car, especially in the GT3 Cup, you then move on to for example, the Carrera Cup Great Britain or one of the other national Carrera Cups. And once you've done enough seat time in there, once you've built up your experience, then you can enter the Super Cup. And one of the things you have to keep in mind, and what kind of adds to that, adds to the difficulty for the driver. The driving time we have at these Grand Prix weekends, at our race weekends, in fact, is very short. You only have 45 minutes of a free practice session, and you go straight into qualifying, where because of the tire performance, if it's slick tires, you have a performance window, or the peak performance window maybe is 2 or 3 laps. You have 2 sets of tires available, so you have 4 to 6 laps where then you really have to put in your qualifying time. That determines the starting order for the race. And then on top of it, I mean, we run together with Formula One, us running on Michelin tires, F1, F2, F3 running on Pirelli tires. Also the rubber that is put down on the tarmac makes the circuit sort of act completely differently. And if you went here prior to a Grand Prix weekend of testing, then come to the Grand Prix weekend, where again the rubber on the tarmac making it feel completely differently. It's also, I would say, kind of a mental challenge that within this short given practice time you still have to prepare properly for the qualifying. But again, at the end of the day, all of us are racing fans, and the more we can spice it up and the more tricky we can be, or we can make it, the more exciting it is for the spectators, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, like, obviously, we've said it before. Like, all of us in the Army Sports Car Racing team, like, we're all Porsche nuts. You know, we love seeing Porsches going around. I think a lot of us kind of prefer the Porsches to the F2 and F1. So a typical race weekend is a practice session, qualifying, and then race. There's no more. Like, there's not like 3 or 4 practice sessions. It's literally practice, qualifying, race.
That's exactly what it is, and it's also a part of the plan, because, as I said before, the Super Cup is the stepping stone up into professional motor racing. And if you're part of a factory crew, you also, for example, at the WEC, I mean, at 24 hours of Le Mans, you also do not have 20 laps to prepare yourself for qualifying. You also have to be able to perform on the spot, and that special amount of pressure and that sort of very particular kind of setup is something that we want to simulate here, because again, the harder it is, the more obvious you can differentiate a very good from a good driver.
Well, I know there's a few British drivers here that's on their debut weekend, and it will definitely test a little bit of character with all those sort of drive rates definitely taken off, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, I think also looking at the qualifying, it's going to be interesting whether it'll be let's say intermediate weather or clear dry or clear wet. And unlike F1, we don't have any intermediate tires. We only have slicks or wet tires, and therefore it's definitely going to be a very interesting session, that's for sure.
Brilliant. And very finally, obviously there's 8 different circuits. Which one is your favourite?
Of course, Silverstone, because as I said, always feels like Ibiza here, you know. No, I mean, all kidding aside, what makes the calendar Super Cup so beautiful is similar to the European Formula One calendar. Obviously, it's each circuit is very particular. Each destination is very particular. I mean, we are in Imola and Monza, where it's sort of the Dolce Vita. We are in Monaco, very much as the only GT racing championship, which Monaco is still somehow feels like one of the most iconic and original street circuits there is. Silverstone with the heritage you can feel here, but of course also destinations like Budapest, like Spa, like Zandvoort just makes it very, very iconic, and therefore it's tricky to pick out a favorite. But of course, coming back to that weather here, it definitely makes it special and very enjoyable.
Brilliant. Oliver, thank you so much for your time and giving it your time to kind of explain what the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup is, and of course how incredible this racing series is, and of course the opportunity that we see our drivers on it, of course our British drivers as well. And thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure to meet you. Thank
you very much.
Cheers. Thanks,
Dan.
Well, Army Sports Car Racing fans, that concludes today's episode. First of all, a huge thank you to Oliver and of course the team in the background, Christian, the leaders. My goodness, what is that in the background? Yes, a huge thank you to all the team here at Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup for giving us this 3-part series. It was great to find out all about this racing series, what it's all about, what it entails, a bit of the history on the cars, and of course learning a little bit more about that 992.1 GT3 Cup car. Anyway, we look forward to our next episode. We'll be catching up with Harry King, driver for BWT, and he's going to be taking us all around that car, so look forward to that episode. Anyway, I have been Staff Sergeant Dan Morton. This has been the Army Sports Car Racing Team, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.